What's up, man?
Hey, man. How are you today? There, bud?
I know nobody chatted last week about our Who Was Kevin Talking To on our pre-recorded, but I thought that was funny. So it was not Sam Darnold, to those of you who are wondering, which was nobody. But if you haven't seen that video, go ahead and check out at least the first 5 minutes of last week's podcast. Booker was narrating who I was talking to. So if you didn't check that out, go ahead and check that out after this episode, of course.
Because I'm pretty funny. He
is pretty funny. So welcome to the Sideline Podcast, episode 73. If you love talking sports, building community, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It's free of charge. It costs you nothing. All you got to do is hit that button, and it helps us out a ton. So really appreciate it if you do that over on YouTube. Give us a comment on X, which we think this stream is on X right now. The streaming website here was giving us a little bit of technical difficulties. But how's your Saturday going, Booker?
Going well. I watched some Olympic hockey. The Olympics are winding down, man. And my feed now is officially just full of Canada versus USA beef because they play. They're playing at the early dawn tomorrow in the gold medal hockey game. Pretty stoked about that. Another thing I wanted to mention, because it just harkens back to our time in Monroe, North Carolina. I sent Kevin this little. So Kevin and I were in Monroe, North Carolina for 4 or 5 years. He was there longer, but apparently a 12-year-old boy missed the bus on Friday and decided to get behind the wheel of his parents' car to get to school and was pulled over. And I just think that encapsulates the Monroe that we know better than any other story coming out of Monroe.
That's fantastic. So I love that. Tonight on the show, it'll be a shorter episode. We're kind of wrapping up the NFL season. It's already wrapped up, obviously, but this will be our last hurrah talking about the 2025 NFL season. We got some college football storylines, and we'll get right into some of our trending topics right now, as Booker was kind of mentioned there. So let's go for the Olympics first. My beef this evening is I was at my son's basketball game today, and my father-in-law was like, "Yeah, the game's at 5 a.m. tomorrow. Are you watching it?" And I was like, I know it's not, the world doesn't revolve around America as much as would like to think. But boy, that 5 a.m. start time on the Pacific is going to be brutal. So you getting up early to watch, obviously?
Oh yeah, I'll be there. I mean, it's 2 p.m. in Milan. It's the last event before the closing ceremony. So, I mean, time changes. It just is what it is. It could have been any other European countries playing in the gold medal game, and it would have been a pretty normal time for them. It just happens to be two North American teams. So,
but that makes it worse. I guess if they have the closing ceremony is what the issue is. But I'm 2 p.m. That's early. That's an early start time, even I would think local time. So I don't know. I'll get over it. I'll get up. My decision is going to be my youngest typically wakes up around 6. Shares a room with my oldest. So I feel like it's a rite of passage to wake my boy up to watch this game, but I can't wake the baby. So I just, we're going to have to figure that out in my home. But except how many Olympic events have you watched? Actual events,
so many.
Not clips online. You've watched so many, really.
Okay, so I've watched replays.
Okay.
They're just not happening at times where I'm awake to the world, but I've watched tons of replays of events day of. They happened earlier in the day, and I'm watching them after work with the wifey.
You're way more.
I'm into it, man.
Than me. Yeah, no, I do like. I just haven't this year. I've not watched. This will be my only event. Will be tomorrow. I've seen clips on the internet, but I have not sat down and watched any of the events so far. So,
are you even American? But hey, what I'll tell you is North America they're adjusting. Apparently, Canada has said the liquor stores are open at 6 a.m. tomorrow in Ontario or whatever, like the mayor or whoever made that decision, so people can be drinking their Coors Light during the game. So we've adjusted in North America. It's fine.
Yeah, there we go. Well, the women, they won the gold medal. I do know that. I didn't watch the game, but I know they won the gold. So let's see if the men can make it a clean sweep here. What are your thoughts on you got the squint on the, oh no, never mind. It's not the graphic I have there. I thought it was, but the Indiana Bears, I've got it here in my notes. That was a big story this week. The Chicago Bears are scooting across the border. Everything's just coming up Indiana. Tyler's not with us tonight, but it just keeps on going for the Indiana train. What are your thoughts on the Bears moving to Indiana? Do they change the name or do they stick with the Chicago Bears even if they're not in Illinois anymore?
So I don't know that any formal offer. I think it's in discussion because Illinois is refusing to pay for any of the infrastructure with taxpayer dollars. They're making a stand. We're not going to, build your sewer lines in your streets to your stadium. And so Indiana has offered to help pay for that. And so I think more than anything, Indiana is or Chicago will use, or Indiana's trying to use that as leverage to get them over. I don't see it happening, man. I don't know that the NFL would even allow that. They're the Chicago Bears.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about like the Jets and the Giants, they play in New Jersey. So like there is precedence, but it is certainly interesting. You think of the Bears, but I think it's 20 minutes down the street. So it's not as crazy, but it's more the politics of it, I guess. And I'm sure that the taxes and all that is just a little bit different in Indiana than it is in Chicago. So we'll see how that one shakes out. Any updates on your Bills stadium? They're going open roof, right, on the new Bills stadium? No close.
Yeah. I believe it'll cover though like more of the seats, but it is still open roof, which is how football should be played regardless of the climate.
Yeah. Yep.
They did have a little like trip up. Apparently, I don't know. I saw some things online that it was the stadium or the construction workers or something. But apparently this week there was some graffiti that had happened on the work site, and so they had to like suspend work on it. So I think they'll probably that's a short thing, but they are still planning on being there next year, man. So
wow, it's coming quick. So
coming quick.
And then one other trending thing that I have, and this is me, you're probably like, you'll be like, yeah, you interrupt with way too much Eagles stuff, even though we're not an Eagles show. I've got to take a few minutes here to rant on AJ Brown rumors. I'm sick of it, man. It's literally, I almost don't want to go on to X because all I'm going to see is which team AJ Brown's going to, which comment that he hates Nick Sirianni. Like, it's just exhausting. I'm a little bit exhausted, but I don't want the Eagles to trade AJ Brown. I think anybody that thinks that is crazy. I saw one post today that's like, all the Patriots need to repeat is to trade for AJ Brown and sign Isaiah Likely, and they're right back in. And it's like, yeah, of course. Like, I'm just tired of the narrative. Is that just me as a salty Eagles fan, or are you getting any of that on X? What are your thoughts on all these AJ Brown rumors? Is he going to get traded, or is he just going to be back in Philadelphia with Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, the godfather of his children, and this is all for nothing?
I think it's all for nothing, but I will say, I mean, I'm on X all the time, and whatever you can put on there to get people to engage with your post, you're going to put on there. And so, I mean, it's the same with Max Crosby. Like, I believe he came out and said he didn't want to go. Maybe that's changed, but it's just endless trade rumors, and so it's just more about likes and likes and retweets than anything. The noise is just noise. I think he stays in Philadelphia personally. I'm not sure that's a great thing though. I don't love how he interacted with the team last year. I think he caused a little bit more trouble, and I think that the locker room, the Super Bowl winning year, the previous year, was a much tighter, cohesive locker room than it was this last year, and I wouldn't put it past them that is one of the reasons that contributed to them not going as far this year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's certainly something, especially when you compare him to Devontae Smith, who's just like your company man, by the book, shows up to work, lunch pail type of guy.
Nick Saban, baby.
The subtle stuff, at times you're like, come on, man, I am in your corner, AJ Brown, but like help yourself out. Like the Philly media, the national media, like they're going to take and run with this, which I don't think he cares. And maybe he should, his job is to play football and catch balls. But it is certainly is interesting. And we'll get into this a little more when Alo gets on here later in the show. But this Tyreek Hill, them cutting him, AJ Brown is right on the cusp of 30. I think if you're going to trade him, is the value is the greatest right now, where you can still get some quality stuff. I mean, 2 years later, and the Dolphins are cutting Tyreek because the trade market is not there for him. And maybe there's some other factors at play, but I think if they could have gotten value for Tyreek, they would have traded him. And in reality, he's just, he's getting cut, and now he's going to be a Kansas City Chief here shortly, probably. So, any other things trending this week on X or on the internet, sports world that we missed? We talked Olympics, AJ Brown, Olympic hockey tomorrow, Bears. Anything else you got?
Let's talk about Joey Aguilar here a minute. And my question for you is college football eligibility just this arbitrary thing now? So Joey Aguilar, for most of you already know this, Tennessee Volunteers quarterback. He was denied an extra year of eligibility. I did a lot of research because this is right after, or a year after, Diego Pavia was extended and granted an additional year. And I was trying to figure out what is the difference here. And I'm just wondering from you, like, is it just this arbitrary thing? Because Diego Pavia went to federal court, Aguilar went to state court. Does the lawyer matter more than the rule book? Do you think that, like, these judges were like, if we say yes to Joey Aguilar now, it's just going to open the floodgates and we're going to see a billion more people doing this, and they're trying to put a cap on it. To me, the optics look the same between the two players, just two different outcomes. What do you think this was?
Yeah, it's to be honest, I'm not the exact details of it and how it's connected to Diego Pavia, but it does seem like there's a double standard and not consistency across the board on these things, because like we've talked about, several weeks at times, it's like it's the Wild West, and it's just, they need leadership in a desperate way, especially for these type of situations. We've got to figure out the transfer portal stuff. We've got to figure out the eligibility, the transfer portal, like all of these off-season transactions. Because I know we mentioned last week on the show about Chambliss, and I thought he was full send. He got the approval in Mississippi, so I was like, oh, this is a done deal. I haven't even followed it this week, but then the next day it was like NCAA's coming out, and they're pushing back with another round of. So it's just this whole dog and pony show, and I'm just kind of, it's exhausting. Like the AJ Brown stuff, it's a little bit exhausting, and you want to see if these kids have legit eligibility. You want to see them be able to play football. I think there is an element of, can you let these guys stick around and continue to stick around? But I don't know. I don't know. You as a Rocky Top fan, I'm sure that you're wishing Joey Aguilar is back in Knoxville. But
I'm excited about Brandon Faison or Faison Brandon. I get those. I flip flop them too much. But I guess my final question for you is chaos beating or overcoming fairness in the NCAA right now?
Yeah, I think so. I think chaos is definitely winning, just because of all of the transfer portal stuff. I'd say it's 100% more chaos right now than fair. Well, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're trying to put a cap on it and make an example out of Joey Aguilar, Trinidad Chambliss, and they're just trying to get the cat back in the bag here, because they let it out with Diego Pavia. It was a landmark. It was like the first time that some within the NIL era, the first time someone was like, hey, if you don't grant this to me, this is the amount of money that I'm going to lose out on, and is that fair? And I think the judge in that moment was probably like, I don't know if that rule is fair. So we're going to put a pause on this. You go ahead and play. And that opens the floodgates. And now these guys are wanting to do that, saying the same exact thing, but they're like, man, we can't do this for everybody. And so I think it gets, they continue to put the cat in the bag.
As if you couldn't dislike Diego Pavia anymore. Now he's not the reason that Joey Aguilar is not your quarterback, but it certainly is an interesting connection there. So another college football storyline I had this week is Cignetti is officially in the $13 million per year club, which is it's a pretty small club. We got Kirby Smart, Lane Kiffin. I will not say anything negative about Lane Kiffin this week. Are both getting 13 plus. Cignetti got a nice pay raise. I believe he's gotten a raise every single year he's been in Indiana. They're just like, you are continuing to be worth more and more. Slam dunk there for Indiana, locking him up long term. The rumors are always going to be swirling of, hey, is he going to go to the NFL? Is he going to go to Alabama? Is he going to go somewhere else? But I think he's there for the long term. And, excellent move for them. So any other college football storylines you got buzzing?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Indiana is no longer paying for hope. They're paying for expectations. They're paying him like he's in the top 3 now. And so I believe that moving forward, the standard has been set. If you have college football playoff success, you can expect a big payday coming your way, regardless of the brand. Because Indiana, maybe they're definitely a larger brand now than they were 2 years ago. But they're not Alabama. They're not Miami. They're not, so the CFP success is what fuels that. I do have one last one here for you. Let's talk about Mendoza. You want to talk about just noise on X. Mendoza, people are going back and forth. Is this man worth a number 1 overall pick? He had 41 touchdowns and 6 picks last year, best QBR in the country, but people still don't think he's worth the number 1. I think the issue is they struggle with whether he's, is it drafting, are you drafting production from the college era, or are you drafting a ceiling? What can he do in the NFL? And so do you think Mendoza is worth the number 1 pick? I know we touched on this, but is he worth the number 1 pick? And what do the Raiders have to lose if they do or don't draft this man?
I think because of the quarterbacks he's around this year. Are we talking Ty Simpson? Who would be that other quarterback? Drew Aller? Is that who you're going to take over Mendoza, who just went on an all-time run in college football? So I think the answer is yes, he is the slam dunk number 1 pick. He is worthy of that, and the Raiders would be crazy not to do it, especially the character, the system that he's coming out of. You mentioned there, players that played with Nick Saban, that matters. And so I think Cignetti's going to have a little bit of that reputation going forward of hey, he is preparing guys to be quality NFL players. And I think this is a situation like that. My disclaimer is he's not an Andrew Luck. Maybe Trevor Lawrence is a little bit too much of a comparison there. But when Trevor Lawrence came out, he was the no doubt about it, the next generational guy when that word gets used too often. But I think he's not in that type of category of can't miss prospect. But Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl. You have to build a team around these quarterbacks. We'll get into the Mahomes stuff later in the show, but I just think with somebody like Mendoza, we literally just saw it with Indiana. You have to build a team that is going to win these games, and can he facilitate an NFL offense, make all the throws, and be the leader of your franchise? I think absolutely. So, the Raiders would be silly not to take him, considering how bad at quarterback they've been, and the talent they have around him already, and Ginty, Brock Bowers, the defense. Clint Kubiak is set up to succeed. We'll see if it happens.
So if he turns out to be a solid quarterback, I'm not talking elite, I'm talking solid quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders, you're saying it was worth the number 1 pick?
Yeah. I think so. Because what else are they going to do? You have to have a quarterback, so you have to keep, they've got to keep trying. You can't just be you know what? Yeah, we're going to take an offensive lineman and punt on another season. You have to capitalize on a quarterback in his rookie contract, or when they're cheaper. That is the time to build a team a la New England Patriots and so many other teams in recent history. So I think there's not, and again, that sounds like a negative of there is nobody else, so take Mendoza. But I also said he just had a generational type season. Look at me just using generational after I was saying don't use it. He had a crazy good run in college football this year, which I think is worthy of being the number 1 overall pick. He showed the skill set to make the throws, to be the leader for your franchise. So, I would 100% take him over a Drew Aller or somebody else. There's some good defensive players. There's some good O-linemen this year, but there's not a Myles Garrett coming out where I'd say, okay, yeah, give me the specimen at edge to go with Max Crosby and skip on the quarterback. I think you have to take Mendoza number 1, and I think they will.
I agree.
In other news, we've got JP Losman. Look at the uniform here. Does this just bring now? Full disclosure, you weren't even a Bills fan when those uniforms were running wild in Buffalo, but I think you can still claim it. I think you can still claim JP Losman as your former quarterback for the Buffalo Bills is the new offensive coordinator for the Washington Huskies. They fired their coordinator, Jimmy Doherty. Hopefully I pronounced that right this week, and are promoting JP Losman. So yeah, I think this is a good hire for the Huskies. It's that time of year where we're scratching for stuff, and I just thought this was an interesting hire for that program. Obviously, there was a lot of not scandal. There was a lot of drama there with Demon Williams, and is he coming back? Is he not? I think this is a great connection here of former NFL quarterback, a talented young quarterback that can use this type of leadership. And so, yeah, I think it's a great hire for the Huskies, our local team out here in Washington. And yeah, any other storylines you have before we keep plugging?
No, I wanted to touch on that. I think you mentioned something really important there. So Jed Fish is the offensive play caller. So having an OC, I don't know how much that makes sense. However, the Damon Williams drama that happened in this offseason regarding, NIL money, was he going to make more? I don't think it was we never saw numbers as to whether he was, offered more, but he entered the transfer portal, ends up coming back. I think getting a QB coach in there with, a former first rounder to settle that room down, I think that is the smartest move the Washington Huskies could have made, because when I look at the Washington Huskies next year, the big question mark is, will there be buy-in in that locker room after the star quarterback tried to leave? And so getting someone in there to settle that down, I think, was really important. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if that was the main reason why he was hired. I mean, he's going to do a great job there, I think. So a smart move. Yeah.
And the promote, so he was in the building, so they're elevating him to a more of a role, and I think it'll be a good fit. So yeah, we already touched on the Joey Aguilar Chambliss stuff. It's just a mess. It is a storyline, and it'll continue to shake itself out. But I think that is a good place to wrap up our college football storylines for this week. So let's.
All right. Well, I'm not going to lie. I just was looking at my notes and didn't realize I was here. But now that I am, I just appreciate everyone who's here to watch and listen. We are building something here. It's not just about content. It's about community. So if you believe in that, hit the subscribe button and roll with the TSP community.
Level 10 transition there. Sorry, man. I was trying to come up with something to say, and then I was like, let's just hit the button.
I heard silence, and I was like, oh yeah, this is where I'm supposed to be.
Smooth as butter right there. So all right,
it's like hitting the snooze alarm too many times and realizing you're late for work.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get Alo in here to bring some order to all this chaos right now.
Help us, Alo. Help us.
Hey guys. Hey, listen. I got some breaking news. It's not like the news we want to hear during the season and stuff, or after the season. But I don't know if you guys remember Rondell Moore. He just passed away. He was found in his house with gunshot wound. So
man.
He's probably 20,
25. Yeah, 25. It was just like breaking news like 25 minutes ago. So my prayers go out to him and his family for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Man.
Well, welcome in, man.
Thanks for that little. But I mean, it needed to be said. It needed to be said. So yeah.
All right, so there's no easy way to transition from news like that, but I appreciate you sharing it, Alo, and we'll keep talking sports, because that's what we're here for, and but again, our thoughts and prayers out to the Moore family, and let's jump into our NFL recap. So 2025 season is officially in the books. Sam Darnold, the Super Bowl champion. Can we believe that?
No.
Is true. But like we were just talking about, I mean, if you build a good team, it makes a difference. You have to have You have to have a good team. So this is a question to kind of get us going. And we're not going full-blown award show because there's plenty of those and those, the MVPs and that kind of stuff is. We have a couple questions to dive into. So who do we think is the most improved team this year? I think it was a pretty cool year for first-time coaches and quite a few teams. We're thinking of the Bears, the Patriots, even the Seahawks, like making these big jumps. And so, give the floor to you guys. Who are we thinking is our most improved team for 2025, this past season, made that jump?
All right. I'll jump in. For me, and I hate to say this, I really do. It's the New England Patriots. In 2024, I'm just going to drop some stats here from my notes. In 2024, they were 4-13 and 14-3 in 2025. In 2024, they had a minus 128 point differential. That means 128 points were scored on them than they were able to put on the board, compared to a plus 170 this year. That's a 298 point swing from one season to the next. And another interesting note, two of the top three teams with the greatest improvements with those metrics met in the Super Bowl. Seattle was number 3, and they met in the Super Bowl. So for me, it's the New England Patriots as the most improved.
And as we're coming up on free agency here, it's crazy how active they were last year on day one. And that doesn't always pan out. I mean, as an Eagles fan, I remember the dream team, like they spent all that money and then it just did not work out at all. Like those free agents did not pan out in Philly. But then the Patriots last year, they spent all this money. They brought in the right players. And so we'll definitely have to get into some NFL free agency stuff. But it is crazy how those key additions made all the difference for the Patriots. Obviously, bringing in a new coach certainly helps. But Ayla, who's your most improved team for this year?
Yeah, I was gonna say we you guys were talking about having personnel. The personnel is important. Having a great team, and I don't agree with Booker, but I will say that's one of the teams where hiring Vrabel helped. Getting pieces in there, because I think more quarterbacks are lost from not having personnel around them than them just not having the talent. I mean, Sam Darnold was the number 3 overall pick out of USC. It's not like he was garbage. The Jets were garbage, and Sam Darnold has a Super Bowl ring now, and the Jets haven't been to the playoffs. So that just answers your question. But my team, I'm going to go with the Bears because the Patriots they've won in our lifetime. We've seen them, and now they're just they're in the Super Bowl. Nothing's changed. But the Bears, man, I know those Chicago fans must be thrilled. I mean, they finally got a quarterback in Caleb Williams, and we saw when you give him a team and one of the best offensive minds in Ben Johnson, it changes a whole organization. And I don't think that slows down. I don't care about the division. I actually think the Lions digress. I think Jordan Love is kind of hit and miss. Sometimes, if it's big games, he sometimes tries to do too much. And the Vikings, I mean, I kind of think they ruined it by not signing Darnold and taking a chance on J.J. McCarthy. But, yeah, I think the Bears continue that success next season in 2026. And I actually, for later in the show, I'll talk about it. But they're my Super Bowl team next year. So,
ooh, hot take.
I believe in Caleb Williams very a lot. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're putting
those two teams. Go ahead. But
I was going to say, so you're putting so right now, Alo, and we're not a gambling show, but if you had $50, you're putting $50 on the Chicago Bears right now, and I'm sure that price is quite low. For a bet for Chicago to go to the Super Bowl, if not win it. You're doing that?
Yeah, I mean, if we look at it, they beat the Packers, their rivals. They went and honestly, they should have beat the Rams. But, I mean, he made a crazy play. I just think Caleb Williams is so clutch in the fourth quarter that it reminds me a little bit of Patrick Mahomes. They could have, like, these games where it's not so good, and then the fourth quarter comes and they look like freaking Tom Brady out there. So it's just like, yeah, I believe in his talent, and I believe that Ben Johnson's going to make him get better and better. So, yeah, I would put $50 on it.
And honestly, it came down to those two teams for me. There were some other teams that had great seasons, but I think the Patriots were the tiebreaker just because they made it to the Super Bowl. And both teams, the future is looking bright. So I guess some follow-up questions here for you guys is, what's your confidence level that New England, Chicago, that they continue that success? Because it's one thing to have a good season. It's another thing to string those winning seasons together and not just regress back to a 9-8 type of franchise. And so, Booker, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think the Patriots keep it rolling next year? Are they an A.J. Brown, Isaiah likely move away from getting right back? Or, it's going to be a different story in the AFC next year?
I mean, I'm a Bills fan, so I hope that they regress in a big way, but I just don't see it happening. The foundation with the Patriots from ownership top down is so solid, and they just do it the right way. And now you have Mike Vrabel, Drake May entering his third season, but second season playing the entire season. He's only going to continue to get better. I think they draft well because they tend to do that. And so I think that they continue trucking. I don't know that they make it to the Super Bowl next year, but they're 4-13 seasons. I don't know that we'll see another one of those in the next 10 years.
Yeah. So Alo, same question for you.
Yeah, I'll go with the Patriots too on that one, just because they have top 3 cap space next year, this year coming up. So I don't think that changes. And we see what's happening unfortunately with the Miami Dolphins. They're not going to win anything. The Jets are horrible. That's just weak. It's between the Bills and them. And I just think with the personnel that the Patriots have in that building, I'm sorry, but it's just, I trust that more than I trust the personnel in the Bills organization. That's for sure. And I mean, yeah, they have Josh Allen, but I think, it hurts because Josh Allen deserves the money, but it also makes his team not as good. And right now, Drake May's on that rookie contract. So, they could do a lot.
Absolutely. And you kind of mentioned it there on some of these NFL some of these AFC quarterbacks. We got the Patrick Mahomes. I was trying to think of a good and an appropriate nickname for Patrick Mahomes. I didn't come up with it.
They don't exist.
It's too obvious, and those type of things. But my question is, in putting that graphic up there, and did we touch on this last week, Booker, or not? I feel we talked about adding it in there, and I think we didn't add it in the show with the AFC quarterbacks. Is this a repeat or not?
So you asked me about Lamar and Joe Burrow. Yeah, we do have a comment.
Oh, we do.
We got a comment. So Brian E, he's a 12, so he's a super happy guy because the Seahawks have won, but he's all over other divisions and teams to see what their offseason is going to look like. So in this room right now, we've got quick little rabbit trail here. We got a Bills team, our Bills fan, Eagles fan, Miami fan. Let's just respond to this real quick with what we think our offseason looks like for each of our teams, if that's all right. And I'll start with the Bills. I mean, I just hope they draft well. That's where I'm at. There's been so much rockiness in this offseason with letting go of Sean McDermott and the ownership coming out and saying, "Oh, we didn't really actually want Keon Coleman, or we didn't choose him. Sean McDermott wanted it." It's just such a bad look for the Bills. But I like Joe Brady. I think that it's kind of one of those. I mean, he's a young guy. He's been with the Bills. I think he has what it takes. I'm really hoping that they draft well. I think that they are on offense. If they could free agency pick up maybe one or two other receivers, but they just draft heavy in the defense this time around. I think they can actually put together a season that gets them to the Super Bowl. But that defense just continues to be the Achilles heel for the Buffalo Bills, in my opinion, whether it's the passing defense or the running defense. So if they can put that together, I think that they are a real contender. What do you think, Kevin, about your Eagles in the offseason?
Yeah, I mean, it's so early. Free agency is just a couple weeks away. So I'm curious to see. We've got, several players going to be leaving potentially. Reed Blankenship, Jalen Phillips, There's a couple young guys coming in their fifth-year options, so do you extend them? Obviously, the A.J. Brown stuff, Dallas Goedert. So there's a lot of uncertainty in Philly. So, it's a dark place right now on Eagles Twitter, and still just blaming Kevin Petula and that kind of stuff. So, I'd say that, the Cowboys are just still spending money and thinking that they're going to win. They're get this. You want to talk about rabbit trails? Today at my son's basketball game, a guy in full Dallas Cowboys gear named his daughter Dallas, and I was like, that man should be arrested. Like, I'm a big Eagles fan, but to name, not even that. Name your kid that, but oh my gosh, rabbit trail there. So I don't know. That's the Eagles, NFC East. It'll be interesting. The John Harbaugh hype is there, but I don't know. I'm not too worried, but I'm also kind of worried. So that's a good way to say that. So
that's fair. What do you think, Alo? How you feeling about Miami in the offseason here?
It's more about for me. It's more about rebuilding. We got a new GM, a new coach. We're starting fresh. So I think I don't want to see them drop the quarterback unless it's Fernando Mendoza, and that's not happening. So for me, I want to see them start to build this team. Maybe, I know it sucks, but maybe get rid of Waddle, trade him, hit free agency and get some young players. But more about rebuilding the team so that way in 2027 we could get our quarterback, whether it's Arch, Julian Sain, or somebody else that comes up. And then 2028 we should be good with cap space because by then Tua will be done. With us owing him money. So I just think it's time for Tua to go. We're not winning a Super Bowl. Shoot, we're not even winning playoff games with him. So, I hope the best for him, but we need to, like I said, and I don't want to see, that's another thing. I don't want to see like, we're going for the fourth pick. We're going for the fifth. No, if you're tanking, you're going for the 101. We did that before. We ended up with Tua and we didn't get Joe Burrow. So that's got to change.
Yeah.
I was almost going to say you're crazy on the trading Jalen Waddle because in my mind he's like 23 years old. He's 27. So I actually don't hate that. I hate that for the Dolphin fans out there, but maybe you do trade Jalen Waddle and you could get a haul for him rather than, whatever you're going to be going through over the next 3 years is probably not going to be a whole lot of winning. So I don't hate that. When you first said it, I was like, I don't know about that. But now that I look at it, 27 years old, you might be able to get the biggest haul for him right now before they give yet another big contract away. So I don't hate that take.
Yeah, you got to trade Waddle before he starts to waddle from old age. You know what I'm saying?
No, it's true.
There you go.
Well, Brian, I just wanted to thank you, Brian, for engaging, man. If you want to send us an audio at TSPCommunity on X about what you think Seattle needs to do in this offseason to repeat or have some similar success next year, we'll see if we can't get it on the show next week. So thanks for engaging, Brian.
Yeah. So similar questions. We were kind of hinting there at AFC quarterbacks, and we'll just make this quick for you, Alo. But we put up a graphic last week of the Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Do you think any of those big three guys can win a Super Bowl? Or again, back to Captain Evil here, Mr. Evil, Patrick Mahomes. Is he just going to be back on the top of the mountain again next year? Tyreek Hill like it's 2017 all over again. So, do you think those three guys can win a Super Bowl in their current teams? And then we can jump into will the Chiefs be back next year?
So my thing with the three quarterbacks, Burrow, Lamar, and Josh Allen, I honestly don't think they're going to win a Super Bowl. I know people think I'm crazy, but just what I think the tough part about it is with Josh Allen and both the other two as well is they have too much of a weak hole because they're getting paid. Like with Joe Burrow, that defense, my goodness, they can't even stop us out there. The Bengals can't stop us. It's embarrassing. With the Bills, they can't get Josh Allen, for the love of God, a number one wide receiver. Hopefully that changes, and if they are able to steal A.J. Brown from the Eagles, things might change. But the poor guy's still in the Coleman, and you know how that goes. And for the Ravens, it might be even worse. I don't think Lamar's ever – if Zay Flowers is your wide receiver one, you're not it come playoff time, it's not going to happen for them. The defense has digressed as well. So yeah, I don't, just because they get paid so much and they can't, it's hard to fill those things in. I mean, there's only two guys in my lifetime that I've seen do it, and that's Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. And then until I see it, then I'll say it. But as for the Chiefs, going on to that subject, I do believe they'll be back. They still lost these games, close games. It's not like they were getting mopped out of the stadium. They were losing close games, and in addition of Bane from the Hurricanes, in addition of Love, me personally, if I'm them, I take Bane if he's there, and I go Breece Hall in free agency. I don't think he goes back to the New York Jets. And right there, you're talking about Jesus. I'm scared if I'm you don't have to worry about the Raiders, but I'm scared if I'm the Broncos and the Chargers. And really, let's be honest, the Broncos defense is great, but the Broncos don't scare me in the sense of like, oh my God, their team is so great now. And the Chargers definitely don't scare me. Their offensive line is always banged up, and they don't have a wide receiver one as well. So yeah. I mean, if you got Patrick Mahomes, you got a chance, and we've seen him do it 3 times. I'm pretty sure, like, that Eagles team that they lost, that they beat, I think they were better. The Eagles were better than them, and the 2 49ers teams, I think, were better than them. So,
yeah. So again, recapping this 2025 season, Booker, you think the Chiefs? I mean, down year for them. You think they're back next year, or is it the slow decline, downfall of the Kansas City Chiefs as we currently know them?
I think it's the slow decline of the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that there was no better reason or motivation for Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs to come back this year after being embarrassed in the Super Bowl against the Eagles, to come back this year and show everyone who the real king is. And they just were unable to do it. They actually declined from that year. So that revenge season that everyone was promising from Patrick Mahomes turned into nothing. And so I don't foresee the Chiefs. They're going to stay competitive, but I'm saying over the next 5 years, they are going to slowly decline unless they reload. And I think it's because Patrick Mahomes is just, I mean, age is not kind on people. I know he's not like Aaron Rodgers or Joe Flacco, but the NFL is a hard sport, man, to continue to stay relevant in and year out. So they need to protect him better as he gets older. And draft some more guys around him because, I mean, he is special. He's still special. But I think it's a slow decline over the next 5 years personally.
Yeah, and you hate to do the comparisons to Tom Brady, but I think teams have these windows where you have a team good enough to win it, and then you sort of don't, and you got to get back to that. The early 2000s Patriots, they were really good. And there's kind of this lull where they were still making the playoffs, but they weren't really winning. Then sort of mid-2010s to 2018 when the wheels fell off there. But yeah, I think you're going to have those lulls, and how long this lull will be, it'll be interesting. But I think they will be back. Bringing back Tyreek Hill seems like the obvious thing, but that's not a move in, hey, we're going to continue to get younger. There's already enough issues in that wide receiver room that I'm like, should you bring back Tyreek Hill at 32 years old? He's not quite the same guy that he once was. I don't know. I think you keep building around the young guys, but I'm all for the Kansas City demise. So who am I to give them any biased advice? All right, so one more thing, and then we'll wrap up for this evening. So we don't have Tyler here tonight, so we'll have to get his way too early Super Bowl predictions next week. Mine is the Eagles versus the Broncos, little crew talk versus TSP Super Bowl next year. I think both teams are motivated and will have that necessary chip to go all the way. And so I think both teams get back in a big way in 2026. Booker, you want to share who was your prediction? Then we'll let Alo give his way too early Super Bowl prediction.
Yeah, I'm picking the Bills versus the Packers. I'm thinking – it's a little bit of a shot in the dark, and a little bit as well is just the fact that I'm a Bills fan, and if the Bills and Josh Allen are going to do it, it needs to be in the next couple of years here. So I'm picking Bills, Packers. I think the Packers are, if they can stay healthy, are continuing to be good as well. Like, a part of this too is, did anyone think the Patriots would be in the Super Bowl this year? A lot of things had to happen. The answer is no to that. So a part of this too is just a chaos pick. Like, not the two best teams in the NFL. I don't think the Patriots. I don't think the Patriots were the best team in the AFC. I'm just going to say that. And so they are still in the Super Bowl, playing for the ring, playing for the Lombardi. So crazy things happen. Give me Bills Packers 2026.
Ayla, who you got?
Yeah, I got the Dolphins. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't do that, man. No one's taking that.
In all seriousness, I have the Bears and the Broncos. I think with the Bears, we talked about it earlier. Caleb's on the rise. Ben Johnson's offensive mind. He's just a mastermind with that, and I think that they're gonna be even better than this year. And I do think with the Broncos, I know I was saying like the Chiefs will be good. I just think with his injury, with Patrick Mahomes' torn ACL, I think he's going to need that year to get back to what he was. But I do think they'll still be competitive. But I do think the Broncos will win the division. And like Booker said, I think if Bo Nix doesn't get hurt, I personally think they give the Seattle Seahawks a tougher out for sure. I still think the Seahawks would have won, but I think it would have been a better game. Bo Nix was playing out of his mind, especially in the fourth quarter as well. So I think if he continues that success, and he does have Sean Payton, so I don't see that changing. I see the Broncos versus the Bears.
Man, I kind of want to change my pick. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. After talking about this, I kind of want to go Bills Bears. I just think that you're right, Halo. I don't know if I can do that in the rules here that we've set forth in the TSP Constitution, but I just think Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson, man, it's hard to bet against them.
Special.
I mean, I'm a Bears hater, so I can bet against them. But I don't hate it. I like you, Alo, standing on business of you said the Bears are going to repeat earlier, and you're sticking with it. So it's a solid pick. There's definitely precedence for second-year coach, quarterback in their second, third years, taking those jumps. So I think it is possible. How about this for you guys? While we have a few more minutes here, is the AFC or the NFC the harder path to get to the Super Bowl? Because for years it's been the AFC, but now you're looking at the NFC and you're talking the NFC West is stacked. The South is it the South? No, not the South. The South is not stacked. The North is the Lions, the Vikings. I don't know if we continue to put the Vikings in there. The Packers. The East, you got the Eagles. If everything breaks right, the Cowboys, I guess. Is the NFC a harder conference to make it out of and get to a Super Bowl, or is it still the AFC on top in that argument?
I think based on what we saw this year, the NFC feels like the more dominant division. And so I'm going to say the AFC had a down year overall. But I think that continues. The NFC feels like it's on the rise. It's got some young new players. And Seattle, Los Angeles, the Rams aren't going anywhere. Well, I guess I don't know how many more years Matthew Stafford has, and he's been the catalyst on that team. But San Fran has been no slouch. Obviously, the Eagles, the Bears. I'm going NFC on that question as of right now.
Yeah. Alo, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree as well. I mean, we had the Rams, the Seahawks, the 49ers, and the Bears, the Final Four. I think all four of those teams beat the Patriots if they would have made it. I saw the Rams put up some points on that Seahawks defense. Matthew Stafford looked like an MVP. He threw for like 3 touchdown passes and 300 yards. And Sam Darnold did the same thing. And then I witnessed the Super Bowl where Sam Darnold threw 1 touchdown pass and literally managed the game, and they smacked the Patriots. So just for me, I think we were at a time where the AFC was like the path where like, oh man, whoever comes out of the AFC is most likely winning the Super Bowl. I think that's over. I think the West is so much harder. The NFC. Yeah. So I just think it's a tougher path because a lot of teams got better.
Yeah, I think it's still the AFC. I mean, it's hard because those top quarterbacks of Lamar and Josh Allen haven't been postseason. They haven't been as good as they are in the regular season in the postseason. But then when you add a Bo Nix, a Drake May on the fringe, now you're talking like 7 quarterbacks you got to get through in the AFC playoffs. Like, and they're all fairly young. I mean, none of, was Mahomes the oldest of those guys at probably 30 years old. So I think for the next decade, I think the AFC is going to be more difficult to get through just because though, even if you take Lamar and Josh Allen out because they aren't as great in the playoffs, I still think you have to beat them in the playoffs, and not every quarterback can do that. Obviously, Mahomes has, Burrow has, and some of these young guys have, but it's still difficult. And so I don't know. I think I'm still taking the AFC just because the depth at quarterback is so great. And I know the Seahawks won this year with this incredible full team, but having a great quarterback does give you a leg up in sustained success. If you have a coach, you have a quarterback, you've got a chance to be relevant year in, year out. And so I just see more teams in the AFC, I think, that have that coach quarterback set up. But yeah, it's a great time to be an NFL fan because both conferences are stacked. And I mean, look into next year. It's like, who is? I mean, I guess Seattle for the repeat, but it's hard to repeat. Like everything we've been talking about, are the Patriots going to get back? The Broncos are going to be salty. All these teams knocking on the door. So yeah, I can't wait for the next NFL season. And it's just a little bit depressing that it's February and we got a long time to wait. But we'll still be here every Saturday. Talking football, talking sports. So any other final thoughts here before we sign off for this evening?
Well, it looks like Brian has his way too early Super Bowl pick, although I don't know that we got the AFC team in there, but he believes that Seattle can make it back. Well, that's our faces off. Seattle can make it back, and maybe Jacksonville or Denver representing the AFC in the Super Bowl. I don't hate that either. Jacksonville is a tough out as a Bills fan. I know that firsthand. So,
yeah, I would say my surprising team for next year. I don't know. I don't think they'll make the Super Bowl, of course, but I'd be careful with the Giants. I would. Yeah. They got Neighbors, their wide receiver 1. They got a number 1 running back, in my opinion. They have Dart, and now they have the coach. I would be very careful. I wouldn't want to play them. And the thing too that I would add to that is the Commanders. They don't scare me. Jaden Daniels, in my opinion, I think he's talented. He's just always hurt. In college too, that was the big problem. And with the Cowboys, they got no defense. So I just think it could be between the Giants and Eagles. I do believe that the Giants can make some noise in that division.
How do you feel about that, Kevin, being an Eagles fan with the Giants moving forward here?
Yeah, I like Denard Wilson has been a commodity, a name that's been floating around. I was looking up who their defensive coordinator is because I think it comes down to that side of the ball. Yeah, how they have all the pieces on offense to grow and to be a good team. They have a lot of talent on defense, but they've been shipping a lot of those guys out. I think McKinney they sent to Green Bay. Thibodeau, Kayvon Thibodeau can you get the most out of a talented player like that? Who was the other edge rusher that they signed number 1 pick last year, number 2 pick last year? State.
Yeah, I know it starts with an A. I know his last name starts with an A.
They got a lot of talent while we're looking at that. Yeah. They have a lot of talent on that defensive side of the ball. So I actually like the Denard Wilson signing for them. I think he's going to bring some juice to that defense. So when it's Brian Daboll there, I'm a little like, I don't know. But and John Harbaugh is, like we were just talking about, that motivation. Yeah, he hasn't been able to refine that Super Bowl magic for the last couple of years with really talented rosters, but I think a fresh start's going to do him well. And I'm not worried about the Cowboys and not really that worried about the Commanders, even though they have a good quarterback. Yeah. So I think it's a 2-horse race there in the NFC East.
Abdul Carter is the name, and don't forget about Dexter Lawrence either. Yeah, being the school bus on that line, man.
So more than enough talent to win in New York. It's just, can Harbaugh, steer the ship there? So it should be interesting. But
Yeah, and just a quick thing to add on, they're going to add somebody with the 5th pick. It could be Cardinal Tate. And him and Neighbors would be nasty.
Yeah.
So
now we're talking fantasy football, baby.
We'll throw up a little banner here. We are live 6 p.m. Saturdays, every Saturday, plus or minus. Sometimes we're a little late because, technology and stuff and families. But we're here Saturdays talking sports, even in the off season. Shows might look a little bit different, but it's the NFL, it's college football. There's always things to talk about, especially in the Wild West that is college football and all the NFL offseason stuff. We got mock draft season, free agency, fantasy football in the summertime. But we've got plenty to talk about. So we're here Saturdays. You can give us a follow on X at TSP Booker, at ALO Leagues, Mr. Diesel and Duffy, HTX Ballco. We're not here, but go ahead and give them a follow as well. And, yeah, thanks for spending some time on your Saturday. Brian, anyone else that was in the comments, spending some of your Saturday with us. We appreciate that. And go ahead and hit that subscribe button while you're here. Really appreciate that. So without you guys have a good rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you later.
Go USA, baby. Beat Canada. Beat Canada.
America. That's right. What's one thing? What final score prediction for the 5 a.m. hockey game that I'm going to be watching tomorrow morning?
Oh, I'm going 3-2. I'm going 3-2 USA, and the deciding goal happens in the last 10 minutes of the game, third period.
I like that. You hesitated on the 3-2 who wins. I was like, you got to be going America. You're right. Alo, what's your score prediction for tomorrow?
I'm going 1-1, and then overtime, USA takes it 2-1.
Okay. Give me a 3-1 USA commanding victory over the Canadians tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. because I'm getting up early to watch some hockey. So give me a good beatdown over those Canucks up there. So anyway, we'll see you guys. Peace out for this.